Okay, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Bob Hahn, I'm president of Lumecon, and today I'm joined, as you can see, by Michael Woznicki, our project engineer. Michael, say hello.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to join us today.
So today we're here, we appreciate it. We're here to talk about some new product updates that we have that are available now, and we want to make sure that you guys are aware of everything that's going on. If you guys have thanks, David. I did get a haircut. Yes. So the last time I was on here, I was probably 4 months into a no haircut COVID look. So finally in Michigan, our barbershop's open. So thanks, Dave. Appreciate that, buddy. David has found the chat box. You can too. If you have a question, please go ahead and just log in your question. And we'll try to answer either A, as we go along, or B, at the end. So don't think we're going to ignore you, but we are definitely going to keep tabs on it. There's also a question and answer box too. Most people find the chat box easier to use, so go ahead and use either one that you want. Without any further ado, we're gonna jump right into this and get going. There is going to be a question at the end that we'll verbally ask, and if you can answer that question first, you will win an Amazon gift card for $50. So, you know, be paying attention, not only to what we say, but what we show. So, Michael, are you ready?
Let's go, Rob. Sounds good.
All right. Well, obviously, we're very, very proud of the fact that we're from the United States, that all of our products that are currently made by Lumecon are coming from the US, and we're located here in Southeast Michigan, just north of the city of Detroit, for those who didn't know. Most of our manufacturing of all our LED boards happens in the Detroit area. A lot of our castings that we do happen over here on the west coast of Michigan in the Muskegon area. And then many of our lenses that we make, we have injection molded up here in Charlevoix, Michigan, which is up in the upper part of the mitten, the lower peninsula, as we call it. So we're located, like I said, in Farmington Hills. This is our home office and where our production happens. We do have 3 buildings. We have a training facility, we have inventory here in the same industrial park. So we've come a long way in 15 years. And so some of those of you who have been able to join us here at our location, we really appreciate having you in. And obviously looking forward to being able to host people again one day. And so we're definitely looking forward to that. Speaking of which, we hope everyone's staying safe out there. I know maybe you're tired of hearing that, but we do care about our whole network and everybody, what's going on. Let's talk about the first product. The first product is our Lumecon Workmen Series Parking Garage Light. It's also a canopy light well as 2. It'll be up on DLC shortly, probably later this week, early next week. And it's compact, it's low profile, features, you know, low profile. That facilitates easy clearance. That's a big issue in a lot of parking garages. You know, you don't want something with too long or a drop lens so that people are clipping your lenses all the time. As you can see, we are only 12 inches wide and 3.32 inches in depth. If you were to add the occupancy sensor, then we're still only 4.21 inches in depth. So you're able to, especially in tighter situations, lower ceilings, this product works great. Along with the features, we have effective lumen distribution. So in many, many, many cases, we're able to one-for-one replace a current existing parking garage that still is HID, and there's plenty of them out there that still are. And then also too for a new parking garage build as well. At this point in time, we'll turn over to Michael Woznicki to discuss, and just tell me when to click, Mike.
Sure thing. So we're going to take a look at a very common standard setup that you've got for parking garages. Your parking stalls are typically 9 or 10 feet wide and 19 or 20 feet long. And so when you have them arranged, this is a floor plan view looking down the garage. You can see how these are all stacked up they'll typically have in between the lanes 20 feet so that cars can go past each other, and then your setup of where all of the stalls are. The next slide, Bob. What you see most commonly with your placement of luminaires for parking garages is that you will place them at the end of the stall, and rather than at every single stall, they'll spread them out 25 feet, so it would be every 2.5 stalls. There are variations, of course, but this is far and above the most common arrangement that you have for parking garage lighting, and especially with existing infrastructure. So if we take this spacing right here, and it's going to be 20 foot by 25 in a standard grid, and we run calculations with the next slide, we're going to see that our 45 watt meets up with IES recommended standards. That's the Illuminating Engineering Society. In their document of RP20, they say that they want to have at least a foot candle average across the entirety of the floor. For the ramps, they want to have a minimum of 2 foot candle average and a maximum uniformity of 10:1, which is at least twice as aggressive at what you would see for a parking lot, because they recognize that it's inside of a confined space. And you'll see as well that if we go with the 45 watts with the frosted lens for distribution, with the standard application, we absolutely match up with these. We're well above what they need for a foot candle average, and we're coming in at 10:1 uniformity throughout. So this means that you can do an absolute one-for-one replacement for most standard garages. Sometimes there are different arrangements. The shape might be a little different, or the placement is an unusual type of pattern. So at that point, you can just request us. We can easily put together a photometric analysis of what you have specifically for your parking garage and see how it matches up. But we're really happy to see that although we have a variety of options, we don't even necessarily have to go with the 60 watt. We can go with the mid-range of a 45 watt and definitely meet up with standards that we've got for a parking garage.
Thanks, Michael. The next feature is that we do have sensors available, the dim to high ox sensor with the photocell. I want to emphasize there that we do have a button eye photocell available that goes in one of the knockouts. That's only if you want just a photocell. If you go with an ox sensor, you no longer need to then select a photocell because the ox sensor itself has a photocell inside of it. So then it's an all-in-one solution that definitely can extend the savings. And also too, by dimming the fixture, again, every fixture is different, but by dimming any fixture, you are going to extend its lifespan. So if it's on 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, but it's in dim mode half the time, you're going to get a lot longer lifespan out of that same product. Looking at the parking garage outputs, and this is also, again, I want to emphasize this can be a canopy as well, and it does come in dark bronze or black, as well as white. But the 30 watt, they're all running at 120 lumens per watt. So you're gaining about 36,000 lumens for the 120 lumen watt per watt fixture at 30 watts. At 45 watts, you're getting 5,400 lumens, sorry. And at 60 watts, you're getting 7,200 lumens. So there's plenty of punch. And like Michael said, the 45 watt does a great job on a standard layout of a parking garage. And then there's other cases that if they're closer knit, then you would be able to use the 30 watt. And if someone wants higher output light, maybe for retail or whatever else, the 60 watter is there for you.
Bob, David is asking to confirm, talking about the occupancy sensor, if that's the FSP 2111.
It is not. In this case, it isn't. We had some room constraints in that one. So we're using a different ox sensor in that case, but it does look very similar to it. And we vetted it, and it's definitely a quality ox sensor. Now, it is microwave based. If for some reason you do need IR, we can switch it out as an option up to the watt stopper. So we can go up to that too, if you need to be. So looking at how to mount it, obviously there's 3 different ways. One is to surface mount it. There's second way is directly to a J box that may be hanging down, or you can pendant mount it. So it does have the knockout on top to be able to pendant mount. And you can see that it has a J box already patterned plate on top to make it for easy installation. That plate does has almost like a hinge on it, and it comes up. You can install it and then close the fixture onto it. It clips right in. So it's a nice way to install it and real easy. As it stands right now, any kind of sensor program like Limelight from Lutron or something like that is adaptable as we speak. We definitely could integrate it into the fixture. We know there's a lot of Lutron agencies out there that we work with. So basically what we could do ahead of time is have you send us the power packs, and we would then integrate them into the fixture. So yes, the question from Mr. Sedlock, it's not even down the road. It's something that we can integrate right now. If, like I said, if we were sent the power packs, we could integrate them. And then finally, it does come with an external, we couldn't fit the actual battery backup into the actual fixture itself. So we did create a box to go on the side. Aesthetically, it does look very nice, and it actually works with the 1/2-inch threaded hole. There's a little pipe that we have there too, so that all the wires stay inside. And it does run for 90 minutes at about 900 lumens going through there. So that's just giving you a look at that. And on to our next product. We're going to talk right now about our Lumecon architectural post-op. It's designed for both form and function. It's aesthetically pleasing. But one of the main reasons that we actually set out to make this happen is that many cases, you guys are all looking for communities that have dark skies and or someone who is just looking to eliminate uplight in general. Maybe it's not a rule, but they're just looking to do it. So we needed a full cutoff product that was in our decorative lineup. So along with our Ring of Fire, our Ball of Fire, our 35 West, our Little Woodward, our Big Ball of Fire Sphere, and then our Design Your Own program, our L Retro DG kit, we now are happy to have a full cutoff fixture in the Lumecon architectural post top. We're going to go through this real quickly to kind of talk about it. Michael, I'll let you talk about this.
Yep. Handling all of the photometry and lighting layouts, this is particularly exciting from this aspect, having all the different type of distributions. With our other decoratives, we've been greatly enhanced by having either a Type 3 or a Type 5. But in this case, we can have also added a Type 2 and a Type 4 to the mix. So when we're looking at streetscape designs, if we need to do a large coverage of a swath or an area, the Type 5 does an excellent job of actually focusing the lumens into the corners and really matching up rather than just having it essentially dumped down. And when we get into sides where we want to have mitigating some backlight, whether it's residential areas or some businesses, and keeping everything pushed forward onto the street, we would look at a Type 3 or a Type 4. And there'll be some small pathways where we're looking at a Type 2. We want to keep a wide distribution, which is great in particular for streetscapes, because you can have ranges where you get into high density traffic areas with pedestrian crossings, and you need a larger amount of distribution, as well as lumens in those areas, or we can tailor make a specific type of custom design for where we want to have the distribution going. Again, it's great to have like a Swiss Army knife of all the different areas where we can put the light.
Thanks, Michael. We do want to point out real quickly off the bat that this is a 29-pound, 18-inch wide by 18 3/4 inches tall product. This is not a RAB spun aluminum post top. This is a big boy, and it's fully casted, not only for thermal dissipation, but also for long lasting. This is in 20 years, this casting is still going to be up and looking good. And so, so just to keep that in mind when someone says, well, geez, I can get a RAB or I can get some other low end post top. That's not us. That's not this fixture. This one is for someone who's trying to do their downtown right or doing a parking lot, which we'll talk about. So it does come with the Lumecon 10-year warranty. As you can see in the photograph there, you can get it in a single arm or a double arm. The single arm actually has a little bit better photometry, not much different. Obviously, there's just not the interference of the one arm. And as Michael already pointed out, it comes in the type 2, 3, 4, and 5. We also are making it available in 3000, 4000, and 5000K. It comes standard in black, but custom colors are available. Just let us know. Again, the 40 kV surge suppression is standard in this product, just like it is in the parking garage light and all of our other products. And again, I already mentioned that it is 29 pounds. It's a big boy. Available options include a photocell, a microwave aux sensor. So there's actually a window that you can barely see here in the lip that we can install a microwave aux sensor into it, so that for pedestrian pathway walk, it can go down into dim mode, then it sees somebody, it can come up to full brightness. You know, again, it's set up so on the top, you can actually put a twist lock photocell, or in more cases, a 7-pin receptacle to be able to install controls, a control node. So for wireless controls, and it is agnostic, so it's 0 to 10 volt dimming leads going to that 7-pin so that you can control fixture. We also have battery backup is available for a 90-minute run, and then I already mentioned the 7-pin, the 7-pin receptacle. To answer Tony Phillips's question real quickly, I'm going to jump back to the parking garage. That it is not the old FM 105. It's not hidden behind the opal lens. That does drop down below it, and it is a screw-on lens that goes on that. I'll let Michael talk about the outputs here.
This is excellent because similar to the distribution variety, we have a wide range of outputs as well. For the lower levels, we're looking at a 42 watt fixture that has over 5,000 lumens. We've got a good lumens per watt efficacy, but that ranges up. And in fact, now we can even get into just under 20,000 lumens, which is a tremendous amount of light. And not only is that helpful for having great illumination for pedestrian conflicts at intersections as mentioned, but this can also get into adjacent parking lot lighting. If there is a downtown municipality or street light and they have some other parking lots where they want to have full illumination going through and keep the same aesthetic, we can actually do that now with the output that we've got for the LAPT. So we're really happy to have a lot of different avenues and directions at our disposal with this.
Thanks, Michael. So that's all for the Lumecon architectural post-op right now. The cut sheets and pricing is available on the website, and pricing is available for all the agencies. You guys have it already in your possession. In some cases, you may have to call for quotes on this particular product. I believe that's the case. So if you have a project coming up and you want to specify it, call us and we'll quote it out for you. We want to jump into an update that we did with our Detroit series. So just to punch again that the Detroit series is an awesome fixture line. We're going to be having, another webinar here very shortly to introduce the area lights that are coming out. But we did do an update to the forward throw wall packs. And again, this is a great product that is casted in Michigan, injection molded in Michigan, completely designed from the ground up by us. And we're very, very excited about it. But what we were able to do is to actually take the small forward throw mini, which is still actually a fairly good size fixture, and we were able to actually add another wattage range to it, so that you can see that. And then we also added another efficiency line. So if you're taking a look at that, we're up to now 136 lumens per watt. And we added a 35 watt fixture. So the 35 watt fixture is producing 4,700 lumens at 136 lumens per watt. So that's our most effective fixture. We also we have our DLC version The 35 watt is now going through the process of getting added under the DLC, and we're not losing too much there, just it drops to be DLC, we drop about 10 lumens per watt. But again, we're still at about 4,400 lumens. And then we still have our really inexpensive line too that is not DLC, but we are ranging about 100 lumens per watt in that range. And just to give you a very inexpensive look at the lower end. We're also saving quite a bit of money here on the HE2 as well over the DLC version. So we want to point out here that when you're looking at forward throws, in many cases, a lot of people have defaulted looking at our Detroit series forward throw, our large fixture. And we want you to think differently. Our forward throw mini, which again is not very small, now that we can produce up to 4,700 lumens, we suggest that if you're looking for a 10 watt, a 15 watt, a 20 watt, a 35 watt fixture for a forward throw situation, that you look to the forward throw mini. And again, you know, we're talking about efficiencies that are up to 136 lumens per watt. And then you could jump over to the large one and their sister products. So they look very much alike. You could order both of them up and have them on the same building and they would look very nice together. But if you need to go to 45 watts, 6,000 lumens, all the way up to 10,500 lumens, you would go with the 45, 55, 65, and 80 watt. Just to give you a real quick savings, if you did the 35 watt in the forward throw mini over the 35 watt in the large guy, you would be saving $66, you know, discount. So we highly, highly recommend that you that when you're looking for a forward throw, whether it be DLC or not, that you look at the forward throw mini first, especially in the lower wattage ranges, and you'll find that both fixtures are very competitively priced at these wattage levels that we have boxed in. So to give that a look, it should be through DLC and everything else probably within the next 30 days or so. So look for those updates from us as well. Of course, all the products that we discussed today are using tier 1 componentry. In most cases, we're using Nichia LEDs, sometimes Cree and Samsung, or Osram in many cases. I want to stop real quick here too, and that is that someone had us dissect a product the other day that was quite a bit less expensive than our products. And they wanted to know, why is it so much cheaper? And so they brought us in the fixture, and obviously it was direct from China. And what we found was that it was an outdoor area light that was using indoor plastic LEDs. And they were grouping them together in 4 dyes at a time, which bottom line, an indoor LED it runs about 6 cents compared to the 60-cent outdoor LED. And there's a huge difference in its makeup development, its heat-seeking ability, its ability to withstand harsh conditions, temperature swings. When I say indoor, I'm saying like a normal troffer fixture that experiences, it's in HVAC, and it's usually somewhere around 72 degrees the entire time. So that's what we're seeing a lot of in a lot of less expensive product. Now, the key there is that it actually will be as bright as a outdoor LED for about a year to 2.5 years. And then the swings in temperature and the outdoor corrosion and everything else will start to impact it. And you'll see the product start to begin to dim. And so maybe even 1 year, maybe even 2 years in, you might make it with that product. But again, it's going to go down quick after that. As far as drivers are concerned, we're mainly using Philips drivers right now, the programmable ones. We also use a little bit of Inventronics and Thomas Research and Meanwell, but I would say that 80 to 85% of all of our product right now is out of Mexico, Philips drivers, advanced, programmable. Our connectors are all Wago connectors, as opposed to me when I installed my, I always tell the story when I installed my my AM FM cassette deck into my 1972 Plymouth Barracuda when I was 16 years old. and then I hit my first bump and all my speaker wire caps fell onto the ground. Well, if I'd use Wagos, they would stay in place, but you see a lot of inexpensive fixtures using speaker wire caps still to cap off wire connections. And because of vibration, those can fall off and wires can become disconnected, and then also the fixture no longer works. We are again using, mostly intermatic in the photocells. Our ACT sensors mainly are Legrand watt stoppers. And then again, every product that we're selling right now has a 40 kV surge suppression system made by Littelfuse. And that's probably what separates us from many, many people, is that most you're going to see out there is a 10 kV, and we're all the way up at 40 kV. And we know that the number one reason for LED products failing is due to irregular voltage. And so if you're not protecting it some way, shape, or form, that's when you're getting the phone calls from the customers wanting an RMA or wanting to know why my light is out. Of course, each one of these has a 10-year performance warranty to L70, meaning that if you put up a fixture today and you measure 10-foot candles under it, if you went back 9.5 years from now and did another measurement, you would notice that it would be no less than a drop by 3-foot candles. So if it was less than 7-foot candles, we would warranty that. Proof is in the pudding. I tell the story also too that recently we pulled down a wall pack off the back of our building that was put on. We've been here 11 years. So 11 years ago, we installed it and turned it on, and we never shut it off. So 6 months ago, we took it down. We sent it off for another photometric testing, and we only lost 27% of light output in 10.5 years. And again, that was using very pre-XRC LEDs. They don't exist anymore. They've gone way past that in thermal design and efficacy design. But even using that type of fixture, our thermal process made it so that we can back up this warranty. And last but not least, I did talk about surge suppression. And most people are carrying 10 kV, and most of those is because it's in the driver. Well, we have 10 kV in our driver as well, but only, unfortunately, once that surge hits that driver, it typically shuts the driver down and dumps the load onto the nearest ground. In many cases, that nearest ground is the actual LED array. And so you can see a lot of fixtures that when that driver then kicks back on again, you'll see it start to flash, you'll see it half lit, you'll see it dimly lit, or not lit at all, because the entire LED array was damaged. And so by putting a 40 kV system on the AC side before the driver, we mitigate damaging the driver and or the LED array. And so that in many cases, if the Lumecon fixture is out and you bypass the 40 kV surge suppression, the light turns right back on again. And then you need to surge suppression. And then maybe even figure out why it had a surge, or maybe it's just death by paper cuts. It's got poor quality power coming to it, and it's sending 1 kV hits all the time. So that's for the electrician to figure out. But as you know, we're in our business of protecting our light and your reputation. So to wrap up, we've got the Lumecon support system. Although we're not able to travel very much right now, for those of you that are open, low COVID outputs, some of our guys are willing to travel. So let us know if you need us out somewhere. But we're going to continue with our webinars, our educational seminars. If you have any questions, you can always call into our dedicated central nervous system, where we have our inside sales team that can handle almost any question you've got. And then, of course, as Michael mentioned earlier, your photometric layouts are just a phone call away, and usually a GPS location away to Google Earth it and bring it in. There is one more question from Bill Lindsay. What else do we look for instead of sending fixtures for you to dissect? That's a really good question, Bill. We could probably do an entire webinar on that. But just right off the top of my head, you know, it's very difficult to discern what kind of LED someone is using. In fact, for us to diagnose it, we actually went to one of the world headquarters of one of the LED manufacturers and had them actually dissolve the LEDs down to their dye to see exactly what they were. But other things that you can look at too, and that is the fixture a casted fixture? In many cases, if it's spun aluminum, number one, spun aluminum has zero heat dissipating properties, none whatsoever. So if they're trying to dissipate heat through a spun aluminum cavity, it's just not going to happen. So that will trap the heat in there. Number two, I would say that again, is it a casted fixture versus an extrusion? Uh, Extrusions with a lot of screws that put together. We've seen area lights that have a bunch of screws holding together an extrusion. And what that does is that really opens up that fixture to have a lot of weak points. Because they're using a die cut gasket, and you know, that's another way to go instead of a poured in gasket. And that shows to be very, very cheap as well. Um, Michael, you can jump in anytime you want, but the photometrics also show if you want to talk about what we saw on some recent products for the photometrics.
Yeah, this has been excellent as far as the development keeps going forward. Really kind of analogous to Bob talking about the duration of that original light that had an L70 that we had for 10 years. And that was using some, at this point, almost archaic technology, because that's what was available at the time. But we continue to see, as this technology is pushing forward as well, we're getting into even better, more improved distribution types, what we're doing with the acrylic lensing and how it's able to focus and put light really where we want it to be in an enhanced fashion over the years, so that as we look for each individual project, because occasionally, like not all parking garages are the same, some are different, we can really zone in and make sure that we're saving as much energy as possible, and also getting the best type of uniformity, the best distribution to what we look at all the way across. So it's definitely been an exciting front row seat for the LED takeover as it moves along, and it keeps improving.
And so basically what Michael's saying is that a lot of the inexpensive fixtures, the photometry, even though they're at 170, 180, 190 lumens per watt, and it looks very, very exciting, when you look at their photometry, in many cases, it's a nadir dump. You'll see that it's supposed to be a type 4, but it's a type 5. And it's got, the actual one that we were looking at, about 90% of the light was in a 10-foot radius right below the light. So obviously it was basically like a flashlight, if you will. And sure, they had 170 to 180 lumens per watt. It looked efficient. Everything looked great. It was super inexpensive. But when you really start to drill down on it, looking at the photometry was horrible. The lenses were not made for those LEDs. And that's something that a layman can look at real quick and see that it's not efficient. So, so I hope that answers some of your question, Bill. And like I said, we could do a real deep dive into that, and maybe we will on another day. But today we're just we'll keep it at that. Is there any other questions that anybody has out there? Before we go with the Amazon gift card question. Okay, not seeing any other ones. So the question of the day is, currently, in my view, there's a patent that you can see. Who's the first person that can tell me what that patent is? To help you out, I will stop sharing the screen and possibly make this a little larger for you. Oh, close. Michael is sitting in front of the Ring of Fire pictures, but that's not what we're looking for. Hint, it's over my right shoulder.